Tell me if you've seen this before. A trucking business owner somewhere on YouTube or another social media platform bragging about how much they made in a week or a day. But what do those numbers really mean, and how much money are they actually taking home at the end of the day? I'm Caroline, your trucking business professor here at the Bobtail Help Desk. My goal is to help your trucking business thrive. If that sounds good to you, subscribe to the channel. Now, calculating the profit of any business is a pretty straightforward concept. Take all the money the business earned providing their service. That's their revenue. In trucking, that's all the money your customers paid you, be them brokers or shippers. Then take all the money the business paid to people or other businesses in order to provide that service. Those are the business expenses. For a trucking business, the expenses are fuel, driver pay, maintenance, tolls, anything that you have to pay for to run your business. Revenue minus expenses equals profit. If you're not already tracking your revenue and expenses and making a quick calculation for measuring your profitability on a regular basis, you need to start doing that. You can learn more on how to do that in our last video on financial management in trucking. In this video, we're going to talk about the next step you take. Once you know how profitable your trucking business is, how can you improve it? Let's go back to that pretty simple equation, revenue minus expenses equals profit. Basically, you have two places to work on, growing your revenue and reducing your expenses. So let's talk about the first one. What are the things you can do to steadily increase your revenue over time? First is to track the rates you're getting and learn where and when you get the best rates for your business. Shorter hauls are always going to pay less per load, but they may be paying more per mile, and that's what you're looking for. Next, learn how to dispatch yourself. Too many trucking business owners outsource this task really early on because they don't want to have to deal with booking loads. I get it. Booking loads is a pain, but that's your primary source of revenue. Maybe your only source of revenue if you're only working on the spot market. Dispatching services take between 5 and 15% of each load. On top of that, dispatchers are the ones negotiating the rates for you and creating those relationships with brokers on your behalf. If you decide to stop using that dispatching service, what happens with those relationships? This leads into my next point, which is getting better at negotiating with brokers. Negotiating is a skill that every business owner has to learn sooner or later. In trucking, it's made even more important by the fact that carriers often have to negotiate rates on every single load that they haul. Start by checking out the recordings of the recent workshops we did on how to negotiate with brokers and find better loads. That will put you in the right direction. Also related to negotiation is building relationships with your customers. If you take the time to really get to know the brokers and shippers you work with and the humans behind those businesses, you will generate repeat business. And when you get loads from the same brokers and shippers over and over again, you will save time and money because you already know how they work, how they like to communicate, and you're already set up in their system. Okay, next revenue maximizing tip, invest in new equipment. Whether you're starting out with box trucks or dry vans, different types of trucks and trailers will generate different rates. For example, the average rate for a dry van in the Midwest right now is $231. For a flatbed, $264. Of course, adding new trucks and trailers to your fleet will add costs, so make sure you can make this work financially before you jump into any big purchases. Another thing you can do to increase your revenue is to retain your drivers. It can take a lot to hire a new driver for a trucking business. We just went over all of the steps to do that in a previous video. So keeping the same drivers around will decrease downtime and increase the number of loaded miles. Finally, think about ways that you can automate or outsource those more administrative tasks. Think things like bookkeeping, taxes, invoicing, anything that's not contributing directly to your source of revenue. Again, these services can come at a cost, so make sure you're looking into really reputable products and services. As an example, Bobtail's factoring service can help outsource some of the tasks that it takes to invoice your customers. We can get you paid quickly and easily the same or next day after delivering a load with no long-term contracts and no hidden fees. You can learn more about factoring with Bobtail at bobtail.com. Okay, let's talk about that second piece of that profitability equation, reducing expenses. First way to do that, practice preventative maintenance. It can feel like a distraction to stop when nothing's broken to go in for a scheduled maintenance check. But something as simple as changing a fuel filter can save you a lot of time and money by avoiding unnecessary damage to your engine and saving money on fuel. Next, manage driver behavior. And if you're the driver, manage yourself, I guess. Reduced speeds can save a ton on fuel. I've heard keep it under 70, under 65, at 61 or 62. It really just depends on the truck you're driving. Do some testing and see what works for your truck and the conditions you're driving in. Also, reducing idling can also save money on fuel. So look into APUs or battery-powered units for things like heating and air conditioning inside the cab. Joining weigh station and toll programs is another great way to save money. These programs often have incentives in the forms of discounted fees and save your drivers a ton of time out on the road. Next, think about where you're making most of your purchases. If you're getting things like oil changes and truck washes at those big truck stops, you might want to take a look at those receipts and compare prices with more local options. I know it's so convenient to get everything in one place, but the convenience is exactly what you're paying that premium for. You can also join industry organizations to get access to more discounts. The Owner-Operator Independent Driver Association and the National Owner-Operator Association have great discounts for their members, and their membership fees are really affordable. Next is to keep up with compliance. This can truly save your business, as the median cost of a US DOT fine is more than $11,000. We've done a few videos already on FMCSA safety scores, audits, and DQ files, so definitely go check those out. Finally, remember that most expenses for your trucking business are tax deductible. Depreciating property like trucks and trailers, as well as any expense to run your home office like internet and phone bills, can be tax deductible business expenses. Keep these receipts throughout the year and you'll make your life a whole lot easier when tax time comes around. I hope you found this video useful. If you did, go ahead and give us a like and subscribe to the channel. And join our Facebook group, the Bobtail Help Desk, to get your questions answered by our experts at Bobtail. By joining the group, you'll also get invitations to our workshops on how to find better rates and avoid freight fraud. And I'll see you in the next video.